right, good morning, or rather, good day, good day, good day. And welcome once again to another entry of All for Success with an S and an X. And that's just to let you know that although this is definitely a Sussex friendly channel, I often will throw in a couple of comments about things that are a little bit outside of what's going on with our wonderful family, the Sussex family. That is our wonderful Harry and Meghan and their little babies, Lilibet and Archie, and of course, Grandma Doria. And I always like to let folks know that my perspective and my thoughts come from a similar position, I would say, as Grandma Doria, being the parent of adult children. So, well, come on in, come on in, come on in, everybody. Get yourselves your coffees. If you are going to sit and listen to some of this exchange, make sure you have your coffee ready. It's early in the morning, so if you are getting prepared to run a bunch of errands, the rest who are going to be out exercising or walking or on the treadmill, keep your headphones in and just listen to my chat. And hopefully, by the time I conclude, you will have at least concluded 30 minutes or 60 minutes, depending on how long I ramble on, of your workout. So, hopefully, you can take me on your workout as you're walking about and still listen in to some of the things we're chatting about. At least that's what I hope so. Now, all of the administrative parts of this is, of course, please share, and subscribe to this channel. I'm slowly getting started here in the new year. I'm learning a little bit more about how to grow my channel or how to increase a little visibility on my channel. I stay fairly I wouldn't call the lane being neutral, but I'm a ton less controversial than some of the channels that I love to watch. Um, I currently do not have the bravery that many of these podcasters and broadcasters have to just basically say any and everything. And I'm just not in the practice, and this is personal, of pouring out a lot of controversial statements and things that I know nothing about, and making these broad, opinionated views, especially in public. It's not something that, as I go back to generational issues, it's not something that we were comfortable doing as young people. And so I've brought that into adulthood. I generally measure a little bit. I measure how I say things and what I say. But that doesn't mean that the world as it is moving today is the same. It is definitely not that way. For those of you who had an opportunity, uh, again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget that. As I throw this out here, if you had a chance to listen to my broadcast last week, you know that I was speaking quite a bit of references to some of the um, YouTube conversations going on about one of the famous comedians, stand-up comics, Cat Williams. And you would have thought that, well, maybe this would die down and move on, but that is not the case. All of the things that we chatted about last week involving Cat Williams and what he had to say in general about other comedians, but basically the entertainment industry in general, that has received a lot of traction, and many people are commenting on it. Now, again, back to the growing your channel thing. A lot of people will put that type of commentary and those type of videos in their broadcast because it will generate additional views just for people who are looking for that content alone. And I'm learning that that is the case. So you got to bear with me. But I will say, for those of you who didn't have an opportunity to listen to anything that Cat Williams said directly, I try to do a bit of a recap. So feel free to listen to my last week's broadcast and have some fun with that. Also, folks, always throw into the comments section below your thoughts, and I would love to hear some of the things that you think and what you are doing and some of your perspectives. It also gives me a few more ideas of things to look at and talk about myself. So don't forget that. All right. So, everybody, you got your coffee ready and all that? Good, good. Because this is a great thing. And I'm going to try not to hang on here too long. Why? Because we're all getting ready for the winter where I am. We've been warned that the weather that we keep seeing, which is a little bit of rain and a little bit of sunshine, we're being told that we better brace for a very cold impact. So I still have a little bit of that to do, which is why I won't keep you here all morning chatting on about my thoughts and feelings. So bear with me. All right, all right. As usual, in the IT internet world, there's always an indicator listed on my system saying, "Hey, your bandwidth may be lower." So just be in mind, keep in mind rather, that from time to time, periodically, you might lose a little speed, or I might find myself in a little bit of a delay. All right. Now, as you recall, and don't try to get out of it, for everyone who made those New Year's resolutions talking about fitness and exercise, get back on it. Whether it's a 30-minute walk here or there, whether you are doing Pilates or yoga or just doing sit-ups and push-ups in your home, walking up and down the steps, make sure you let us know how you are doing on your fitness journey. Most of the time, I find it very motivational and very fun for other people to tell me um, how they are doing on their fitness journeys. Like for me, I'm going to put in the comments that we walked about 2 miles twice, I think, this week. And then I also added, I had to add, but at a different time, that I also worked on the bike, which is the bike that you lean back on while you're riding it. And what I'm told is that this is less impact and less tiring for people with back pain. And I do have a little bit of back pain, so it was it was nice to work on the bike, and I did an approximate ride. I'm going to say it was probably 30 minutes. 30 minutes, yeah. And I would encourage folks who, if you're looking for some type of exercise to do, and you might be tired in the back, or you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't walk for miles or whatever. But the cycling and the biking, I'm finding, is very beneficial. It's very beneficial, and it doesn't seem to give you the same jarring effect that trying to jog or walking may do. But of course, I was a runner when I was younger, and so for me, everything is running. I just love it, but not not to the marathon level. But I feel like it's such a benefit. So just drop in the chat how you are doing on your fitness journey, because I would love to hear from you. It is great to know that other people are also working out and keeping fit. I hear yoga is excellent too, and also something that won't impact the body as painfully as doing some of the lower impact exercises. So let's keep that in mind. So now getting to what we are here for today. Again, back to supporting all things Sussex. If you guys were paying attention this week, let's see. As usual, as per usual, we are generally those who track the negativity that is coming out of Britain based upon what they see or think, believe, or make up for the young couple the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to be doing. So, in general, if they perceive or they think or they find out about anything that the young couple may be involved in, even if they're not, the UK media tries to make a point of getting ahead of them, getting out there in the media ahead of them, and trying to take the opportunity to smear negativity all over it. So you know that is what the UK position is, and that's what their media does. And I am in the future going to probably drop in a few more points or actual pieces of research that I've been looking at and I haven't done anything with. But I want to talk about some of the original purposes of marketing and advertising. And I did talk about this before, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper and pull out some information about how marketing and how advertising actually came to become such a large organization that it is, how it grew into the monster that we see today. And a lot of that did begin with radio and television and what was understood to be the reach and impact of these industries, right? You know, we have to be aware of something in our world. And that is we must always be aware and somewhat cognizant, although it shouldn't really change what you may have as a goal in life. But you have to be aware all the time that everything that you think of or anything that you might be in a creative mind to have, in every way, small things that people come up with and they create can be utilized by those who have a different purpose in life or by those who have a different mission. And I'll give you a very small example. Those of you who enjoy something like, I'm going to say coffee. I like coffee. I love coffee. But that industry, which was just a very simple, lovely bean that grew in these different forests, people would grind them up and make this drink, and you thought, this is great. It perks me up. It tastes delicious and it feels nice. And I say this because, of course, we know Megan is really a prominent businesswoman with clever coffees, which, by the way, I haven't tried yet, but I'm going to have to put some time in and see if I can find that product. But what I'm getting at is something as lovely as that, as far as the industry of it is concerned, there are players that jumped into that industry and they understood that they could wipe out other people's crops or enhance their particular coffee beans, and that they could maneuver populations of people around so that they could grow more. They, in fact, could oppress entire communities in order to exploit this particular drink. So that has happened in our history, that you have some wonderful creation. It looks like something that is going to be beautifully popular and extremely helpful. But there is an element, or there is a some type of an introduction or an influx of negativity to that industry that warps it into something horrific, or aspects of it become horrific. And that is what we are seeing in essence with the media and television, broadcasting in general. You are noticing that something that would have been wonderful um, to participate in, and like, for example, all of our social media platforms. What a wonderful tool to have these operational systems where if I want to reach out and talk to someone all the way across the world because we share an interest. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that lovely? Isn't that positive? But someone, something, right? Some entity, however you want to look at it, or some influence injects itself into a tool that is wonderful and turned it into a place where you can spew the most diabolical hatred of anyone for any reason and at any time. And that is like hijacking these social media systems and platforms. Now, I mean, think about that you had this wonderful system to, type a message of something wonderful going on in your area, or you wanted to send out an invitation to some enjoyable community project. You know, just think about that. Isn't that lovely? That I could actually use a platform like YouTube or a platform like Twitter, now known as X, or a platform like what do we have now? Facebook, Twitter, we have Instagram, where if I wanted to invite you to participate in something awesome and wonderful that I was about to embark upon, and I could just look at this. I could just type this in here on Facebook. I could just select a bunch of friends and say, hey, come on over and enjoy this wonderful event. And here you had this wonderful positive tool that showed up out of, out of nowhere. But what happens? Well, as with most things in the world we're in, there is an injection of an overriding, I don't know, element that lays upon the top of it or infiltrates that wonderful thing and turned it into a battleground, right? Took an absolute wonderful tool and made it into a monstrous battleground. And not only that, the incentive for you to participate in the use of this, your incentive is to be just as horrible. Because understand, if I were to come on this platform because I'm doing this, why? Because I enjoy it. And yes, there is an element of, I think I like listening to my voice. Okay, I'm just kidding about that, sort of. And that's because, like anyone who would love to do voice work, right? If you want to do any type of voice work, then you must enjoy the sound of your voice and what you can do with it. But that's my story. Anyway, but the point being, the broader point being, you take this wonderful tool, this wonderful opportunity that I have to just sit here and chit chat and talk with people who might be interested in something I'm talking about, or they just simply want to waste time listening to this channel. But our environment has placed this feature in a box that if I don't somehow make you angry, if I don't get you stirred up to the point where you're screaming at your device, that you want to go outside and fight and burn down, set fire to your neighbor's car, if I'm not doing that, guess what? There is no financial incentive here. And that is the issue that we're dealing with, right? It's phenomenal. Now, I'll refer back to some of the other huge broadcasters that have done viral work. Of course, the Cat Williams interview went super viral because for one of these fewer times, you had an event where an individual who is perceived as telling us something that we need to know, that is perceived as something worth going viral over. And that is something, I hate to say it, but it is an observation. It appears that it is something that is becoming common in 2024. And I hope to see more of it. So I want to tell you all again, welcome to the channel. And um, let's try to look at all of the things we look at in an informative way, but in a way that we can stay focused and stay positive in our movement. Because, yes, we will see a lot of negativity, and I will be pointing out what I see, but I don't want us to be brought down into a pit where you feel miserable. Instead, I want you to feel energized and motivated and more focused to do better, to make this approach that we have more more interesting. And I love that about most of the squatty channels. Okay, but I understand that there is a place for tough talk. Trust me, I do understand that, but we'll get to that. So anyway, what I wanted to point out here is in this slide, I wanted to let you all know that there is a definition that we had, which was for royalty. Okay, so if you notice under this particular definition, it's basically a discussion or terminology between how money is moved, or how property is moved, or how gold and things like that were managed. That is what the term royalty actually is devised about. It's actually about that. So these people are money managers or money owners, right? Owners of property. And their claim to fame was that they had the right to divvy it out and to tell who could own what. Now, here's what is often forgotten about the royalty of today. What's often forgotten about the royalty of today is that they are the benefactors. They are simply the benefactors of those in the past that brutally obtained it. Okay? Back in a time when walking around or riding around on horseback or moving through the land by any means of advantage that you had, that it was perfectly okay, perfectly acceptable, and also somewhat expected that if you could beat up and take something from a person, that you actually did it. So these are the current day royalty. They are the benefactors of that system. They just basically went around all over the place, and everywhere they went, they decided, hey, I want this, and if I can take it, I'm going to take it. So they did. Now, we're now moving into what we think is a modern era, and I say we think, because we're moving into this modern place in our world where, more and more people talk about things like fairness. You hear people say things like, that's not fair, or or someone will make a statement and say, but I don't believe in it. We're in this era at this time where it is often believed that our personal thoughts and considerations are somewhat righteously, right, backed up. Well, I just want to make a quick reminder that at any time in our current day existence, at any time, and what you have to do is view this in a worldwide view rather than just what's happening in your neighborhood. But that we have to be aware at all times that we are only governed by the rules that as a community we have agreed to. And we have to be aware at any time that community agreement can be broken. And that is one of those things that you see sometimes playing out in small ways in different places. It's something that plays out when Of course, what's common on our side of the world, when there is an interaction between an individual and, say, a police authority, you will have an individual that might make a statement saying, "You can't do that to me," right? They might be talking to the police authority. "You can't hold me against my will," right? "I have rights," correct? This is often a very common statement that is made in those situations. Someone will say, "You can't do this to me because I have rights." What we have to realize and be very aware of, which I think many people have this habit of, I don't know, it's almost like they're trying to make themselves believe something that might not be permanent. You have to be aware that at any time this community contract can be completely obliterated. And you could wake up tomorrow morning in a society where you absolutely have no rights. Okay? Because it's simply that we as a community have agreed that we're going to live by the rules, right? That we are referring to. And what we do is we refer to things here in the US as our Constitution. We refer to the rules of the Bill of Rights. We often refer to local laws, right? Can I burn trash in my front yard? No, because there is an ordinance in my city that says you cannot burn trash in your front yard, right? That is just agreed upon by the community. Do people do it? Why, yes, they do. And they are in, what do you call it? They are acting out against that particular ordinance in our town. And so that's what I'm saying. We have this agreed community of understanding and community of rights and laws. However, on the other side of the planet, where there is often royalty, even though they may be operating in a way that they are no longer seen as in charge, they are operating from a premise that they are the ones that make the rules and the laws. They create them. They are the ones who are determining what is to be done and what isn't. And this is what we have to understand often when you see the British media slash royal family behavior behind certain activities that are going on with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. You see, they are still in a mindset that whatever they say or come up with, or whatever they do, they are the ones making the rules. As far as they're concerned, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, they don't have privileges or rights to anything. They don't even have privileges or rights to the way they think, what they do, where they go, or anything. As far as the UK media slash royal family is concerned, they can tell anyone and everyone what to do. It is only by luck, by fortune, that the Duke and Duchess came to America, where on paper at least, right now on paper at least, we are a community, a culture that has determined we're going to go by these guidelines that we all agreed upon a long time ago. And we'll make adjustments as we go on as a community based on what we think is the right thing to do. Right? So, fortunately for them, right now they're hanging out over here where that is our way of being. But we have to always twist, what is it, tune that button in your mind. When you watch what the UK media slash royal family do and what they are doing, as ridiculous as it looks to us, as ignorant as their behavior to us appears, and we're watching them operate, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, why are they're losing their minds. That is how we're seeing it. That's how we're perceiving it. However, from their point of view, they can do and say whatever they want to do and say. They make all the rules, and they're changing whenever they feel like it. They have no need or requirement for consistency because they are royalty. They can do whatever they want. And that is one of those things that when we're here on the what I call on the support side, you have to be aware that you're going to see more. The ridiculousness is not going to slow down or cease because they are operating from inside of their own brain or mind. And I'm saying the mindset of UK media / royal family firm, whatever, however you want to look at it, from their mindset, from their perspective, they do not ever have to consider the terms that we use, which is good and bad or right and wrong. These terms in their mind don't even exist. The only thing that they operate from is, do I want to do this or do I not want to do it? And so everything that they do, say, however they operate, is simply from stomping of the foot. I want to do this, right? I mean, let's look at the current, what do you call it, the current outline of the British monarchy. At the absolute top of the heap, you have a person who, let's, I don't want to go back to King Henry VIII, but I just love the stories because you see them on television. But you had a character who did not want to stay married to his wife. He actually wanted to sleep around, which, of course, a king certainly can do, right? There is no rule saying he can't do that. And he can do what he wants. He can have as many women as he wants. After all, he is king. He started to be constrained by the entity called the church. And why was he starting to be constrained by that entity? Well, get this. Because in those days, similar to now, but not 100%, but in those days, you had to have the church in your pocket because they were the propaganda at the time. The church was the source of basically getting out your information about what you wanted other people to do, right? I want you to keep working and work hard and be happy to be poor. What that is what the church kept you that is what the church taught, right? That you must always honor your king and your God, right? And so they kept up all of that type of propaganda. At no time did they ever say, why don't you all pick up arms and fight everybody that comes on your land and try to take it? No, they certainly were not going to teach that. All right. And so just like in the days of King Henry VIII, current day royalty is only a little more slightly constrained, and and they're only slightly more constrained because they're becoming aware that it is becoming dangerous to be so 100% running about telling people what to do who are now the regular common people, because it is becoming apparent that the common people all over the world are about almost fed up with the stories they're being told and the things they're being asked to do without any community buy-in, right? So it's becoming a problem slowly. So we want to keep that in mind now, and I want you to put that in the background as we're watching other things. So let's talk about what was going on this week and what was happening in and around the storyline this week. So as you can see, I just had a picture here of some of these folks at an elite school. Isn't that lovely? So this is what an elite. This is what the elite of today. This is how they see themselves in their youth, right? The elite of the day. And so what I'm doing is letting you know, in my way of thinking, that they're not going anywhere, right? They have families, they have friends, and they've all bought in to the club of what it takes for us to all stay on top and stay in charge, right? So just like back in the day of King Henry VIII, even though he was out there dipping and dapping and fooling around with a whole bunch of other different women, and he was actually attached to a woman who I believe was Catholic at the time, and he wanted to get rid of her, but there was no law. There was no way he could just really sit her aside. I mean, she was royalty as well. And so that was a problem. But he needed to kind of fabricate this new church, this new Church of England issue, so that they could rewrite things in order for him to validate divorcing her and, setting her aside. So he needed the church in his pocket. And that's exactly what he did, right? So it created a problem, of course, because it started to break down alliances that England had had with other countries, right? Because remember, their overall, like this beautiful photo right here, trust that these folks get together and they decide, well, is this beneficial for all of us or is this not beneficial for all of us? And they really do not want to do things that are not beneficial to all of them, right? It's like any club, any group, they would want to stick with and work with things that are beneficial to them. And so that is, again, the secondary layer of all things in considered royal. Now, in the United States, we look at this as like these group of businessmen and billionaires and the corporate leaders in our country, because in a sense, they form a very similar structure. And basically, their goal, all the time, their goal will be how to operate and how to obtain more. Now, we're not back in the ages of where you got to just run over people and take stuff. But trust me, if they could, and if they thought that in the country that we're in, if we ever close our eyes and make the mistake of thinking that someone may not come along one day and decide, hey, I'm going to tear up that Constitution and we're going to throw out those Bill of Rights. We're going to start all over. If you believe that something like that might not be possible, you are mistaken. And that it would require at that time, for the community, whomever that is, but it would require at that time for the community itself to say, you know what, we are not going to let that happen, and then take action. And what would that action look like? Well, maybe next time I'll show you all some photos, if I can find them, from the old movies where, the peasants with the pitchforks and torches storm the castle, right? And kill everybody in the family and then burn the castle down. Because that's what it would have to look like. If you feel that you're being overpowered by forces beyond your reach, it might turn into the fact that you just simply have to become a peasant with a pitchfork or a torch. All right. Now on for the good stuff. So enough of that, and we'll get back to more of that as the months go on, as I pull together some of this fun information, because I love talking about propaganda and how they got in the business of propaganda and what it can do to how you perceive things. But anyway, folks, this lovely photo here, I want you all to know, and this is just cut. I'm just going to quickly chat about some of the things that have happened over the week. This is our lovely, lovely young man, right? When he attended one of the prestigious military academies in the UK. That military academy was called Sandhurst, okay? That's the best British accent I can do. And while this young teenager was a was a cadet at Sandhurst, um, he did his duty there and went to school as best he can. And who knows what his study habits were like, but if they were like mine, I certainly cannot talk badly about him. But anyway, this school that he attended had the opportunity. Um, they had the opportunity this week, and they had a book that was written about 200 significant attendees at the military academy. Now, just understand, this would be equivalent to me writing about people who went to West Point, right? Some significant people that attended school at West Point, right? I might mention the names of a few people and maybe what they're doing today. So wouldn't that be cool, to say, oh yeah, General Colin Powell, he attended West Point. Okay, but and I'm just saying that I don't know if that's true. But we have a lot of people who went to West Point. We have a lot of people who went to the Naval Academy here in the United States. I believe we had a couple of, if I'm not mistaken, there were a couple of NBA I think NFL football players that went to the Naval Academy, I believe, because the Naval Academy has a wonderful um, sports team. They have the Navy Academy and West Point. They all have excellent athletics involved also with their sports. And then a lot of people who are really, really good, once they leave the service, they actually play for the professional teams. So we've actually had members who are Naval Academy attendees, and they have become professionals in their sports. Okay, so Sandhurst is the same in the UK. Now, in this individual who wrote this book about Sandhurst was talking about, I think he picked about 200 prominent people that went to Sandhurst, and um, for the book's publishing, Prince William was given the opportunity to write the foreword in the book. I'm supposed, like writing the dedication to the book. Well, I guess in exchange for him writing the foreword, and I'm just making that up, but it just sounds like something for me to say, he writes the foreword. So in the book, out of the 200, significant people that attended Sandhurst, Prince Harry is not there, right? Well, here he is. He obviously attended the school, but for whatever reason, they didn't see a need, right? There was no need or requirement to place Prince Harry in the mention. Now, what do you think about that, ladies and gentlemen? Tell me please put your thoughts in the chat. I would love to hear what you think about Prince Harry being left out of the book of the school alma mater where he attended. So please write a chat about how you think that's going to work out. What do you think people think when they are looking at, hey, a book of significant personnel that attended the school, and Prince Harry's name is not in it? I mean, if you were going to be placed in the book, would you want to be placed in the book with Prince Harry, or would you want to be left? Would you want Prince Harry to be left out? I'm just curious. I know if my name was in that book, I would think, gee, I'm going to brag to my children that I am in a book with Prince Harry, right? That's what I would want to say. What I wouldn't want to say is I'm in a book and Prince Harry is not in it, but we went to the same school. But now I have no proof that we went to the same school because he's not in the book. But anyway, that's how I look at that. But yeah, they saw fit to leave his name out of the book. So that was discussed this week, which is absolutely a ridiculous stance to take. But again, I want you all to put this in the mindset. Please place this in the mindset of what is royalty. They just simply do whatever they want to do. They don't even care that it looks bad. Okay. They don't even care. They don't even care that people are asking a question as to why you would do that. They don't get it. But that's how it is. So immediately, which is really, really cool. And this is what happens when you're on this side of the world. So immediately after that was published and mentioned, and they he'd and ha-ha'd all over UK media about the fact that he had been left out of the book at Sandhurst. Immediately after that, you know what happened here? Well, he was immediately, it was announced that he had been inducted into the living legends of aviation here in the US. Now, is that something that is a big deal? Not particularly. I mean, it's really like a list of current day pilots who are really cool. That's kind of what that's about. Or, hey, let's put the names in of people who've done some real cool things involving aviation. So, of course, people like Buzz Aldrin were added, who was a famous astronaut, and he was also a test pilot. Um, this was something that is going to be moderated January 22nd. They're going to talk about the people who are listed now in the Living Legends, and it's going to be moderated by John Travolta. Why is that? Because John Travolta, if you didn't know, he's a pilot. He's been flying planes for a long time. John Travolta actually flew for a commercial airline at a time. He loves to fly. Even when he would go out on film shoots, one of the criteria for where he was going to shoot his movies and film was that they had an airport. And that's because John Travolta liked to fly back and forth from wherever they were filming to his home. Isn't that awesome? So Harry is now going to join that list, right? Now, this has got nothing to do with the UK military. It has nothing to do with the United States military. It's just about the people who are involved in aviation. Why is Harry involved? Or why was Harry's name given? Well, Harry flew Apache helicopters during his time in Afghanistan. And that is fantastic, isn't it? And that is just something that if you have great management and you have great publicity personnel and great agents, guess what? They may be able to get you considered for some of these honors. And I think that blindsided the UK media. And oh my goodness, they basically lost their ever loving minds. And you know what? Great, great. Because this is how it's looked at. You pull him out of one book, we'll put him in another. Okay? And that is what these wonderful folks over on this side of the world are going to have to do for the Sussex family. And that is because on the other side of the world, they will continuously and forever constantly try to figure out things to do to bring them down. And I am just in love with the idea that Harry and Meghan are seemingly, and they've got to stay on their toes, but they are seemingly able to stay one step ahead. Okay, now we've got to help support them and get them 2 or 3 steps ahead because it is very hard to try to stay ahead of people who are just trying to stir up negativity no matter what. All right. But we're going to definitely try our best to keep them on the right track, staying focused and staying strong and supporting them all the way. And I am so hoping that our strength in their support becomes even stronger. I just love this photo. It is something to me that is just so funny. And again, parents, right? We're parents. We can't help ourselves. It is something so funny to me to see a young kid doing something in a way, and it's hysterical to me when you see the adult actually doing that thing. You see a young child that may be playing with a toy or doing something, and it translates later into their adult life. I think that's so much fun to see. And so this picture to me is just one of the cutest. So everybody stand there and enjoy looking at that photo, okay? Let's go back one more time. And I need you all to just, isn't that adorable? Am I wrong? Am I wrong to say that? It's just the cutest thing. What can I say? So I'm going to do, because I like to see that, I'm going to have to give an applause for all of you. They're so cute. They're just so cute. What can you say? Okay. So, um, I'm about to wrap it up here. And again, don't forget, folks, don't forget, I need your likes, your comments, please. Make sure you say something really cool. keep me. I'll get around hopefully to answering or clicking back on your comments. It might take me a while, but definitely let me know in the chat what you're thinking. And so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, lastly, what I wanted to wrap up with is please understand that that family is continuing to deal with spiritual warfare. Okay. And I know that we had talked about this before, but be aware that they are definitely in a battle, and it is a spiritual battle, all right, as well as an outward, real physical battle, right? So these folks are attempting at all cost to try and erase the good work, the good things. They want to erase the positive name of Harry and Meghan. They want to reassign who they are to everything negative. Okay? So be aware that these folks are just spending as much of their time as they can on an opportunity to drag our young people down. It's just amazing. So I'm going to quickly run through a couple of comments that I do see here from time to time. I want to say good morning to different folks, and I know I'm a little late, but I want to say, oh, okay, this is from Mesa Trees 8. I think I'm saying that right. I like your yin and yang symbol. That's so cool. But you're saying good morning. I'm always feeling enthusiastic to see a new broadcast. And even as I sit here multitasking, well, you keep right on multitasking. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. You're going to have to do it. And you have some other notes here. You're letting everyone know that you're saying good morning in the chat. Thank you so much, Mesa Trees 8, for joining us this morning. So I get to highlight you because you actually were the first in and the first on my commentary. I love that. So you also said here that well, yeah, the coffee, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's great. That was by the way, I shouldn't share my secrets, but that photo is stock photo, but it was a great type of coffee that I would like to make and enjoy myself. So, thank you again for joining me this morning, and I hope to keep you interested in coming back from time to time. We also had a wonderful good morning here, good day from Rafaela Bertoni. Thank you for coming and sitting and chatting with us. It's not all the time that I get to have newer names and folks that I see coming into my chat, but I want to tell you guys, it makes me so happy to see that you have the opportunity to join in and listen to some of the things that I'm chatting about. But please let me know if you have also thoughts and comments. And as I get better at this, I might even be able to get to the point where some of the other broadcasters, we can actually have inner activities and chit chat amongst ourselves. That will be awesome. So once again, thank you, Rafaela Bertoni. I think I'm saying that right. I hope. I love the name. Also, we have Anna Marie Bethel. Now, let's see. She's telling us that William doesn't have any brother love for his brother, and he seems to be very jealous of his accomplishments. Yeah, ditto, Anna Maria. Ditto. I totally agree with you. Now, here's the thing. Sadly, sadly, many families have these conflicts going on between siblings, right? Even in my own family, there are elements of one sibling preferring certain things and another sibling not, or one sibling feeling what do you call the word, like they've been I don't want to say done wrong, but sometimes offended maybe. One sibling at one time might be doing or saying something that is offensive to um to another symbol, right? So it is from time to time that um, a sibling can do or say something that will upset the other sibling. It's just typical. It's just one of those things that is normal, right? you know, that's just how it is. And anyone who is in a family with multiple siblings, you're aware of how that might work, right? So it is possible for different things to occur between family members. Like, you're going to have your differences, you're going to have your arguments, you're going to have your issues, and it is no doubt that with that happening, you might come into conflict or come into clash. But here's where the parents become very key, or at least those who are acting as parents or in the parental role. You have to encourage your families, especially the children. You try to encourage the children to look at things from the other person's point of view, and you try to encourage them to try to work through whatever the differences are without being horrible people, right? And that is not easy to do. It's something that you have to work at. And as a parent, and I have, like I said, I have children. My children are not going to get along 100% with everything. It's just not possible. They're not going to agree about how to do things 100% with each other. That, again, is not possible, right? So you're going to have conflict. The key is, as a family, as much as you can. And just like Harry and Meghan, there are points that you can reach within those the association. There are areas that you can reach where, guess what? You simply have to leave each other alone. And you may have to go your separate ways. Because if you're not getting along to the point that it can cause harm to yourself or someone else, then sometimes the best thing for you to do is to separate yourself, right? There are times when you have to decide, well, you know what? It's just best that I move on. That is just absolutely a possibility of something that can occur, right? It's just possible that that's the case. But be advised, there's nothing wrong with that, nothing at all, that you have to deal with it and that you can get through it. But the key is, unlike what we're viewing here in this world or what we're viewing on this side, the key is this: what you don't want to do is to go about and set it out to be a mission to make it worse, right? So, what's the mission to make it worse? Well, it's to go out and do things that are imitative of the other person, right? Where you're trying to insult the other person, to go out and talk about that individual's legacy and try to make their legacy negative, to engage in a smear campaign, and then to try to rally other people around you, right? To try to get other people to come with you on your mission of hatred, right? So I'm in my family, but I'm going all over town trying to find people and recruit other people to hate my sibling. What is that? That's insanity, right? At least it is to me. But hey, some people find that to be normal. I do not. All right. So with that being my final um key and statement, I want you all to understand we're going to keep our eyes on what's going on. We're going to try oopsie, I don't know why I hit that button, but it sounds fun. I always like that. That's to wrap it up. I want to let you all know that I'm about to wrap this up, and thank you. I did even go longer than I planned to. I want you guys to keep up all of your fitness plans, keep up your good hard work. Thank you all for participating and joining in. And I love that so many of you commented. I even had a comment that wasn't quite positive, but hey, I'll take it. So anyway, I want you all to say, keep yourself in staying positive, supporting our Sussex family, and we're going to see what they're going to do next. And we're going to stand by and see what this Legends of Aviation is all about and how they put it together. I'm looking forward to it. And I am also hoping that they are also preparing for the next attack and that they are ready when the next attack occurs, that they have something else to respond to it with. So once again, folks, thanks you all. Thanks for coming to All for Success. I'm going to wrap it up, and I know that there are tons of other broadcasters out there, so get ready. And for those of you who are in my region, please prepare for the winter onslaught. It might get a little cold, but let's enjoy ourselves and let's stay strong because we need to be strong in order to support those that we love and believe in. All right. Thank you guys. And hopefully, I'll see you all real soon.